Okay, good morning to all of you. So we'll be looking at here the Android development with Kotlin. So can anybody have any idea about Kotlin? What is Kotlin? You can type your responses in your chat box, okay? Or you can enable your mic, and by enabling mic you can speak. Okay? So uh, in today's session, what we'll be looking at basically uh, throughout whatever these sessions are there, what we'll be organizing, what we'll be learning, right? Then we'll be switching at how to set up the Android Studio, right? Uh, as well as next we'll be looking at some of the basics of Kotlin language. Right? What is the similarity between Java and Kotlin? Okay. Then we'll be looking at how to create your first app using Android Studio, how to deploy it on your virtual device, that is Android virtual device, as well as how to deploy it on your mobile phone. Okay, that is Android mobile phone, Android smartphone. So basically, these sessions are for those who don't know anything or who have some knowledge of maybe Android or Java. If you don't know anything, so don't get panic. We'll be covering all basic aspects of Android development as well as Kotlin. So before we proceed, if you observe this first slide, so there are some buzzwords here. Right? First one is Android, second one is Android development, third one is Kotlin. Okay. So as you know, what is Android? So basically, Android is nothing but the operating system. Right? I think its first release was launched in 2008, and uh, basically it is developed by uh, what you can say the uh, Google and Open Device Initiative. It is. These are two entities which are involved in the actual Android development. The overall development of Android operating system is carried out by using different programming languages as well as different programming platforms. Uh, Most of it contributes from C programming language, C++, Java, even Python has been used in some of the library implementation of Android or kernel level implementation of Android. The overall kernel of Android operating system is based on Linux operating system. Right? So therefore, it is open source under GNU license, that is Genome uh, Unix licenses, right? As well as the platforms which are used in development of Android operating system mostly are C, C++, and Java. But as well as at design perspective, it uses shell scripting for background programming as well as XML language as well as Python. Okay, these platforms are used for the overall development of the Android operating system. So we'll be looking at why uh, basically Android development. That is what all about Android. Basically, Android as an operating system. As you know that in most of the smartphones, the Android is utilized as an operating system, right? Instead of other operating system. Okay, so the initial version was launched in 2008, right? Developed by Google and Open Device Initiative. as well as platforms used for the development of Android are C, C++, Java. So basically, why I'm telling this, as you know that in most of the curriculum of engineering or any graduation course, okay, related to computer science or computer application, you will find these languages included in your syllabus, right? That is C, C++, and Java. So to learn these languages, C, C++, and Java is most important, and you should learn these languages thoroughly, right? So that is all about Android. Then what is Android development basically? Okay. So there are different Android development platforms available, right? The basic one is Android SDK, that is Android Software Development Kit, which you can utilize for the Android development, right? And you can write your code for Android applications in Java or in Kotlin, right? So basically, uh, why why currently Kotlin is preferred over Java? So there are certain advantages, right? Basically, there are much more similarity between Kotlin and Java, but Google has declared Kotlin as the official programming language for the development of Android or Android applications, right? So therefore, in this session, we'll be uh, uh, proceeding or using Kotlin as a programming language for the Android application development. So if you have any queries, then you can type it in your chat box, right? Some of the queries I am receiving here, one query I have received, that is why they came up with Kotlin. So we'll be looking we'll be looking at the features of Kotlin programming language as a programming language, right? So in this first slide, you can observe these two icons here, that is for Android and as well as Kotlin, right? So next, so basically here we are using Android Studio for the development of Android applications as well as Kotlin programming language. Okay. So what contents we will be covering, that I'm just displaying here. First, we will be looking at setting up Android Studio for development of Android applications. Then we'll be looking at what are different layouts, how to create those layouts by using Android Studio and Kotlin programming language, how to manage activities, then how to debug your code, right, using Android Studio and Kotlin programming language. Then we'll be developing some list applications. Then what is the recycler views are there. Then what are the shared preferences, communicating between different activities, then completing a detailed view, then what are fragments, how to use it, then what is material design, then we'll be developing some map-based app, that is we'll be incorporating Google Map API to develop those applications and those applications, managing user locations as well as permissions. In most of the application, you will see that applications require user permissions at user end for installation, for their phone book, for messaging, or maybe for their gallery. Okay, all these permission, how to manage those permission to the Android application. Okay. So we'll be looking at those things. Then how to add Google places, how to manage those Google places, saving bookmarks. Okay, so how bookmarks will be created, how those will be stored into the databases. So it will be looking at how to link your Android application with database, and how to manage that database and update that database. Okay. Then navigations, how to manage navigations in your Android application as well as networking. So networking can be terms in terms of all the communication perspective, okay, that we'll be looking at. So after going through all these sessions, okay, almost will be requiring at least 20 or 22 sessions to cover all these things. But after completing all these sessions, you will be able to develop your own app with almost all features. Okay. by using your Android Studio as well as Kotlin. Okay. But to learn any platform as well as any programming language, so you should get the depth knowledge of platforms as well as languages. So I will be assigning various assignments during these sessions. So you should go through those assignments because everything cannot be taught through these sessions, right? So daily I will be giving one assignment to you, one or two assignments to you. So you should go through those assignments, and if you get any difficulties into it, so you can drop your queries on the email ID, that is polynormultiservices@gmail.com, right? So or we can discuss those queries in subsequent sessions. Okay, you will be getting the invitation of subsequent session whenever it will be scheduled on your email ID, right? And all these contents, ebooks as well as videos, will be shared in on your personal email IDs. Those who are participating in these meetings, so those will be getting these updates. Okay, so next. So the link which is indicated here is for downloading the Android Studio, right? So you can visit that link and you can download the latest version of Android Studio from this link. The second link which is indicated is for Kotlin language, correct? So that is the first assignment for today. Okay. Our sessions will be on Sunday, uh, Tuesday, as well as Thursday and Saturday. Okay, 4 days week. So whatever alternate days on which our sessions are not there, so you will try to complete all those assignment during those alternate days. Right? So the first assignment for you is you have to visit this website, that is kotlinlanguage.org. So on this website, you should go through each and every content. Okay, you will find some online tools there to get familiar with Kotlin language, as well as some of the examples which you can go through to learn more about that Kotlin language. Right? So basically, uh, 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 once you visit that website, so you will be finding that there is some online tool where you can type your code and you can see the output there itself. Okay, there is no need to install separate development tools for Kotlin programming language. Obviously, if you are installing Android Studio, so it will get the integrated support for Kotlin language as well as Java programming language. Okay. So if you visit this website, that is for downloading, initially we'll just quickly go through the Android Studio installation process. I have included this process. So basically there are some various details, okay, which are most of the time missing while installing these platforms. Okay, so as a developer, you should know about each and every details of it, right? So first, once you visit this website for downloading the Android Studio, so you will find that according to the operating system which you are using, so automatically recommended Android Studio will be there, and you can directly download the executable file for it. It may depend on whether you are using 64-bit platform or whether you are using Windows platform, Mac platform, Linux, or maybe Chrome OS. Okay, so according to that, you can select the recommended version for your platform of Android Studio, right? So once you start that Android Studio download, so you will get one pop-up. Okay, once you click on the recommended download of Android Studio, so uh, you can accept the agreement and you can start the download for Android Studio. So once that download is complete, so you will get that executable file by right clicking that file and run as administrator, you can start the installation of that Android Studio. This is the first screen that will get displayed, right? You have to simply click on next. Then by default, the Android Studio will get installed, and one additional component will get installed, that is nothing but Android Virtual Device. Okay, what is Android Virtual Device? So AVD is nothing but the device on which you are deploying your applications. Okay, so if you observe the first download, so it was approximately 750 MB or maybe 800 MB. But once this Android virtual device has been added here, so the space required has been increased. That is, it is approximately 2.3 GB. Right. So once you click on next, it shows the path on which your Android Studio get installed. So it is C program files, Android and Android Studio. Next, the shortcut which is to be created for Android Studio, so it will be created with Android Studio name by default. Next, after clicking on next, automatically this after clicking on install, automatically this installation process will get begin. Right? And you can expand that show details, so you will be looking at how many libraries are getting installed and downloaded. Right? So once this installation process is completed, then you can get this option where automatically you can start Android Studio. Once you click on finish, then this uh, window will get appeared uh, where it is written that Android Studio powered by IntelliJ platform. Okay, so what is IntelliJ? So again, we will be looking at what is IntelliJ platform and what is the purpose of that platform basically. So once it is completed, so you will be asked with what should be the setting for that Android Studio. So if you have installed it previously, if you have some previous version of Android Studio, you have uninstalled it and you have settings stored into your system, then you can load those settings by config or install uh, folder. So you can browse it and load it. Otherwise, you can select this second option, do not import setting, and click on OK. So another thing it will ask you about, you can share whatever your data during Android development with Google, but most of the time try to select it as don't send. Okay. Otherwise, you can select send user statistics to Google for improving their platforms. Right? But most of the time, you just prefer to select this don't send option. Next, it starts to download the required software development kit components. Right? And once it gets complete, so you will get this screen. So if you observe this screen, so what is the most important thing here, it is that whatever applications you can develop by using Android Studio as well as Android software development kit and Java or Kotlin programming language, because Android Studio has support for both of these languages, Kotlin as well as Java. So those applications can be deployed on your mobile phones or tablets, or maybe smart watches, right? Or maybe on your uh, Android devices as well as automobiles, maybe on IoT, right? Uh, platforms, right? So there are huge number of options for which you can develop your Android applications using Android Studio. Right? So next, what type of installation that you have to carry out to configure your Android Studio? So by default, it is standard. So you can select that standard option. Next, what theme you require for your development platform? Most of the time, the Glide theme is preferred because that Dracula theme is using black background, so it is sometimes not convenient to use that theme. So most of the time, this light theme is utilized. Okay. Next, now you can observe here what is the folder, okay, for your software development kit, that is Android software development. So by default, it is C drive, users, that is the user account, that is polynode multi-services, then app data, local folder, then Android folder will be there, and then SDK is there. So that is the default path for software development kit. And most of the time, this app data folder is hidden one. So you have to enable in your control panel. You have to view all the hidden folders. And for Java development kit, by default path is program files, Android, Android Studio, and JRE, that is Java runtime environment. Okay. So once you click on finish, the actual installation process of that SDK as well as JDK will start, right? And once it will get finished, so you can click on finish. Okay, you will get update what has been done during that installation process, and then you will get this screen. Okay, for Android Studio. That means Android Studio installation has been completed. So we'll be using this version, that is Android Studio 3.6.3, right? And to begin your new application development, so you can click on start new Android Studio project. Okay, but most of the time you will be getting this error, that is SDK problem. Your Android SDK is missing or out of date or corrupted. Okay, so what you have to do in this case, so again you have to close these windows, all windows, and once again you have to start the Android Studio. Okay, so uh, if you are getting this problem, that is your Android SDK is missing or out of date or corrupted. If this problem is not there, then automatically the new project window will get open. Okay, for selecting out what type of project you want to create, right? But if you are getting this problem, so you have to close both these windows, right? And after closing these windows, again you have to start the Android Studio. So once you will be starting that Android Studio, so automatically it will find that SDKs are missing, so there are no Android SDK found. So you have to click next. So it will be automatically identifying what are the SDKs available there. So it will try to install those SDKs as per your Android Studio, okay, which you have already installed. So approximately it will be showing the total download size. Then you will be clicking on next, and then you will be installing the required SDK components. Okay, then you will be clicking on finish. So once it will get completed the installation process. During this installation process of SDKs, obviously throughout the development of your Android application through Android Studio, as well as during installation of different components, you will require internet connectivity, and if there is no proper internet connectivity, then again you will be getting some error messages like one that has been shown in this screen, that uh, the whatever components which has not been installed, it will be displayed there. So again you have to verify your internet connectivity whether it is proper or not, and you have to retry it. You have to click on retry. So after successful installation of each and every component, so you will get this message that is Android SDK is up to date. Okay. So once you have finished all the complete configuration and installation of all the SDK components, then again you will be getting this screen that is for Android Studio. And now when you will be clicking on start a new Android Studio project, then you will be getting this option. Now, if you observe again this window, so there are multiple options. Okay, that is a phone or tablet. Uh, whether you want to develop the Android application for phone or tablet, or whether you want to develop it for variable OS, just like as that wristwatches, or maybe your health monitoring devices, right? Or maybe your television set, that is smart TVs or smart display units, right? As well as automobile, or that is IoTs or Android things. Okay, so according to the preferred option, we will select any one of these options, and the required template for your Android application. Okay, but for today's session, we'll be selecting phone or and tablet, and we'll be selecting the empty activity. then we'll be clicking on next, right? So see, those who have not installed Android Studio, or they can download that Android Studio on the link that I have displayed there. Then they can follow the steps, okay, for the installation of Android Studio, and these further steps will be followed whatever I will be covering in today's session for the development and deployment of the first Android application. Okay. So once you click on next, so you will be getting the configuration setting for your project, what name you will prefer for your project. So you can type any name in this case. So just for example, here I have typed my app. Then it shows the package name. By default it is com.example and dot the name of the application, but I have edited here the package name as com.polynode dot my first app, right? Then it shows the save location, okay, where these project will be saved, right? So by default again it is the users polynode ms Android Studio project, and by default with the name of that project, the folder will be created, and under that folder everything will be stored. Here you can observe that the by default language for development is Kotlin, right? So by using this drop down list, you can change the language to Java. So if you select this drop down list, so you will get two options, Kotlin or Java. So we'll be further proceeding with Kotlin. Then the minimum SDK that you can select here, maybe your application programming interface native API 19 for Android 4.4 KitKat version, right? And it will automatically, there are multiple options again here, API 20, API 21, API 23, 24, and so on. So whatever option that you have selected here, so automatically it will display on how many platforms or devices your application can function. Okay, so here with API 19, it is displaying that approximately 98.1% of Android devices that application can run. So after selecting all these options, you can click on finish. Okay, so after clicking on finish, your Android development environment, that is Android Studio, will get open. Okay, so before proceeding to that, so we'll be looking at what is Kotlin now. Okay, and why Android development is preferred in Kotlin over Java. Basically, if you are talking about Java programming language, so it has huge potential. Okay, you cannot deny it, right? So there are various things in Java. It is the most used programming language in all platforms. If you observe the Android Studio interfaces, so most of the interfaces are designed in Java programming language. But what are the advantages of, or why we will prefer to use Kotlin for Android application development? Okay, that we'll be looking at now. So basically, Kotlin is Java virtual machine based language, which is developed by JetBrains company, right? So as you know that Java also has Java virtual machine similar manner. Your Kotlin has JVM, that is Java virtual machine. Second, this IntelliJ idea, it is one of the most powerful integrated development environment for Java development. It is again the product of JetBrains. Okay, so JetBrains is the company which is involved in the development of IntelliJ integrated development environment platform development. So the same company, that is JetBrains, has developed that Kotlin programming language. So Android Studio is the official Android integrated development environment, and it is based on that IntelliJ IDE platform. Okay, just that thing we have observed. Okay, after completion of Android Studio setup, when we have started the Android Studio, that screen has appeared, and there it has been written that powered by IntelliJ platform, right? So basically, Android Studio is the official Android IDE, which is recommended by your Google, right? And it is based on the IntelliJ platform. Now, talking about your Kotlin programming language. Okay, so what are the target platforms? Okay, where these Kotlin programming language applications, okay, applications developed using Kotlin programming language can be used. Okay, so obviously, whatever applications which you would be developing using Kotlin programming language can be uh, deployed on server side. It can be deployed on Android platforms, or it can be deployed anywhere where Java runs. Okay, so as you know that Java is platform independent in some manner, right? So in similar manner, your Kotlin is platform independent basically, right? So next, it is statically typed. Okay, what do you mean by statically typed? Java is also statically typed programming language. Okay, so both Java as well as Kotlin are statically typed language. So whatever errors are there, those errors will get notified after compilation process itself. Okay, there will not be any runtime error. Okay, that will get occur in statically typed programming languages. So that is one of the advantage of statically typed programming language. So you will not be coming across any runtime errors. Okay. So just for example, I have developed one application in a dynamically typed programming language. So what will happen in dynamically typed programming language? Some of the error may get occur uh, after deployment of uh, those after deployment of those applications. Okay, but in case of statically typed programming language, those errors exceptions will be notified after compilation process itself. So before deployment of those application in statically typed programming languages, uh, it will be completely ready to for the deployment on different platforms, right? Then, uh, as it is functional as well as object oriented. Okay, moreover, preferences has been given to different functions. Okay, so as you know that Java is also object oriented programming language. So in similar manner, Kotlin is object oriented programming language as well as it is a functional language. Okay, so most of the things are modular in case of Kotlin programming language, and it will be managed through functions. As you know that object can be passed to the functions, so those objects or instances you can pass to the functions to get more advantage of object oriented programming language. It is free and open source, right? Kotlin is free as well as open source. Then Kotlin on the server side, so basically how it can offer different uh, what you can say that functionality on server side similar to Java. You can find that Java has different uh, components such as JSP, that is Java server pages, servlets, which can deployed on the server side. In similar manner, Kotlin can be utilized on the server side as well as it can be used on Android platform. Right? It is pragmatic. Okay, that means most of the things can be passed through the parameters. Okay, as well as uh, through various components. Right. It is concise as most of the programming languages, okay, application programming languages preferred by the developers should be concise in nature. Okay, so there should not be lengthy programming code that you have to write, right? So in case of Kotlin, you can write the code having a less number of uh, coding lines. Okay, that is the most important aspects in case of Kotlin compared to Java programming language. So Java is not that much concise compared to Kotlin. Okay, so therefore Kotlin is preferred over the Java for Android application development. Okay. Next, it is safe. As Java is also safe programming language, it is interoperable. You can interoperable means some of the libraries of other programming language can be integrated with the Kotlin. Similar case is with Java programming language. That means if you have C libraries, those can be integrated with Kotlin programming language, or maybe C++ libraries you can integrate. Even Python libraries you can integrate with Kotlin programming language, or vice versa. Right? So therefore, it is interoperable. Uh, these are the some of the tools, okay, which are offered by the Kotlin programming language, which is nothing but the compiling Kotlin code. So it is one of the tool. Then it also includes plugin for IntelliJ IDEA as well as Android Studio and Eclipse. So all these plugins are available in case of Kotlin programming language. It has interactive shell, okay. So as I have suggested you to visit that Kotlin website, where you will be getting one interface to type your code and to view the output of those codes. So those are implemented through that interactive shell. Okay, so auto completion suggestions will be provided through that shell, okay, to perform the runtime programming. Online playground. Playground is basically available on that website itself. Okay. Next, there are Java to Kotlin converters available. That means if you have developed some Android application using Java programming language, so those source code, Java source code can be converted into Kotlin programming language. So all these are the tools which are provided by the Kotlin programming language. Okay. So those were the features of Kotlin programming language. But as seen in the previous slide, that we have clicked on the start new project, and then there was one window for the selection of proper template, as well as device on which you want to deploy the application. So once you select that empty template, uh, and you will provide the configuration parameter of your application, that is the supported programming language, as well as name of your application, as well as the API label that you are using. So after selection of those things, you will be arriving at this window. Okay. So if you observe this window, so on left pane, okay, uh, you are provided with various things here. Okay. As well as there are two files which are automatically open here, that is main activity.kt. Okay, just like in Java, the extensions of source code are .java. So in case of Kotlin programming language, the extension of those files are .kt. Right. So by default, all the source code that you will be writing will be stored inside this package, which you have specified uh, during the configuration of our project. Right? So that is com.polynode dot my first app. Okay, so these packages are nothing but the directories, okay, folders, as you can observe here, that is com polynode my first app. Okay, so within this folder, the source codes will be available, and in main activity or main folder, there will be your Java folder and resources folder. Okay, but basically, once when you arrive on the screen, uh, your Android Studio or application is not synced with the Gradle. Okay, so it should get synced with Gradle. Then and then only there will be something visible inside activity underscore main.xml file. So it is basically a design file, which can be your look and feel of your Android application can be designed through this activity underscore main.xml file. Okay, through code or maybe through design view, you can do that. Right? So next, so if you observe this next window, so obviously you can observe here, that is Gradle sync started. So it will take some time. Okay, and in previous screenshot I have deployed here import dot three dots were there. So if you click on it, so what are the other import packages are there that has been shown here, right? So first assignment that I have given you, that you have to visit that website, and you have to go through that website, and you have to come across the various aspects of Kotlin programming language. Second assignment here is that you have to know what these packages indicates. Okay, obviously Android X dot app compact dot app. Okay, this is the package, and out of this package I am using this class. Okay, bundle as well as app compact activity. And here in my main activity class, okay, by default it has been created main activity. Okay, uh, I'm using that app compact activity. Okay? And automatically on create, the instance has been created for bundle. Okay, this bundle class, and by creating the instance of bundle on create, the instances has been saved. Okay? The instances state will be saved. And the content view, okay, that is the most important thing here. So it will be inside resources folder basically. That capital R is nothing but the instance of resource, and inside that resource you will be finding, if you expand this resource folder, okay, you will be getting somewhere layout folder, and there is XML file that is activity underscore main. Okay, so it is referring to this activity underscore main dot XML basically, right? But again, you have to observe what these things are indicating. Okay, that is another assignment for you. Okay, so once you have started the syncing process, synchronizing your Gradle with the application, so what it is doing basically, so automatically you can observe there are processes, background processes as indicated here in this screenshot. Some of the background processes are running. So if you click on the background running process, so automatically Gradle build process is started and indexing has been updated. Okay, indices will be updated after completion of this Gradle build process. Okay, so you have to wait till this complete process is not get completed. Okay, Gradle build and Gradle sync process. Okay, so you can observe here in this screenshot, uh, the Gradle build process is started, as well as sync is in progress, right? And if you click on this activity underscore main.xml, so it shows loading, right? Until and unless these processes are not getting completed, uh, till that time you will not be getting the design view or code view of your application. Okay? So next, so basically what is Gradle? Okay, and why this Gradle syncing as well as Gradle build process is required. So this is somewhat the pictorial view that I have represented here from one of the web reference, right? So you can observe here, this is your application model, okay, or you can simply consider it as your Android application. So you have some source codes, then the resources files, right, as well as AIDL file. What is AIDL? The Android Interface Definition Language. Okay? So you have these files at your application end, right? But all these application files will be dependent on certain modules, right, or libraries. So these dependencies will be resolved by your Gradle. Okay, so therefore this Gradle sync and Gradle build is required, right? So your Gradle build process will resolve this dependency. So library dependency as well as Android archive library dependencies, as well as Java archive libraries dependencies will be resolved by your Gradle, right? So after resolving this dependency, then and then only your application will be compiled to compilers, right? After compiling your application, it will generate text files. So these are the executable files in case of your application. Okay, so once you have given your source code and dependencies to the compiler, so it will be generating these executable files. So what is dex? So it is nothing but the Dalvin executable files, right? So after getting these compiled version of file, you have these compiled resources in terms of all these resource files as well as executable files, and you have debug or release keystore, okay, so that which can be incorporated in your APK. Okay, what is APK? So it is nothing but the Android package. Sometimes it is also called as Android package manager. Okay, so .apk is nothing but the Android pack. Okay, so after that only it can generate the actual APK file that can be installed in your Android phone or which can be observed on the Android virtual devices. So therefore, Gradle building and Gradle sync process is compulsory in any application, Android application development to resolve all the dependencies of your application. Right? So next, so after these dependencies are resolved, you will be getting this screen. Okay, now you can observe that under this, what you can say, activity underscore main dot xml. Now these things are visible. Right? So this is the design view. Right? Here the design view is selected, therefore only design view is shown here. Right? If you click on this split view, so you will get code along with the design. But if you click on the code view, so only code will get displayed. Right? But now you can observe here. Okay? This left pane, right? So now everything is properly organized here, right? As well as some of the things under resources has been generated, as well as Gradle scripts are properly managed, right? So again, in this design view, you can observe that what is the Android virtual device that on which you can deploy this design, right, or application. What is the API level there? Okay, as well as you can observe here the application can be deployed on the connected Android mobile phone, right? That is, it is Nokia 6.1 plus, right? And text which will get displayed here, right? It is nothing but the hello world. Okay, so this is the design, right, of your application after uh, completing that Gradle build process. And you can observe that message here, that is daemon started successfully, that is background processor has been started successfully after resolving all the dependencies by the Gradle. Okay. Next one is the code view of the same XML file, right? So initially you have selected the design, now here code view has been selected. And in code view, you can observe that hello world text has been specified as the Android text, okay, which will get displayed as the output when you run this application on your connected device or on your AVD, that is Android virtual device. Okay. So next one. Now, before deploying or running your application on the devices, you have to create the virtual devices. Okay. So in previous screen, if you observe, so already some of the devices were there, right? But when first time you are installing Android Studio, so you will find that no devices are there. Okay, therefore you cannot run your application. Okay, as indicated in this screenshot, you can see that no devices are there. So therefore you cannot run your application. So to create your virtual device, you can select this option here, okay, for creating your virtual device, that is nothing but this icon indicates the Android virtual device manager. So after clicking on that Android virtual device manager, this window will get open. Okay, and then it is showing the support for your tablet, phones, wearable devices, then smart display units or TVs, automobiles, and Android things or IoTs. So once you click on create virtual device, so after clicking on that create virtual device, you will be getting multiple options again according to the type of devices on which you want to deploy your application. It may be TV, it may be phone, variable option tablet, or automobile, right? So according to that, it will display the device. So by default here, Pixel 2 is selected, right? And its parameters has been shown, that is size, resolution, and density, right? Or you can select any other device as per your preference. Okay, whatever device you want to select. By default, here I have selected Pixel 2. Right? So next, after selecting that device, I will be clicking on next. So once you will be selecting that device, then it will be uh, displaying the image, okay, which will be deployed on that device. Okay, selected device. Image means the operating system. Okay, or the Android platform. Okay, Android operating system platform which you want to deploy on the selected device. So Pixel 2 was selected. So for Pixel 2, these are the recommended system images. So you can select from any one of these system images. Okay, one more assignment here. I am giving you that what is R, what is Q, that you have to identify. Android Pie, Android Oreo, Android Nugget. Okay, all these are even Android KitKat. Okay, all these are the Android versions which can be deployed on the selected Android virtual devices. Okay, AVD platforms. Right. So here by clicking on this download, you can download that image, and then that image will get installed on the previously selected AVD Android virtual device. You can what improve the performance of your Android overall Android Studio as well as devices uh, by installing this HAXM. Okay, so I will give a brief idea of HAXM in the next session. By that time, you can also identify what is HAXM is. But once you click on that install HAXM, then this emulator setting will be displayed. Okay, in which by default what virtual memory, okay, will be assigned to for the execution of your application is shown. Okay, so HAXM is nothing but the hardware accelerated execution manager. Okay, so as you know that as we are using Android virtual devices, that is AVD. In this case, we are using Pixel 2, right? So that Pixel 2 is used as an emulator because we don't have Pixel 2 in our hand, or if you are selecting Nexus or maybe any other uh, mobile configuration from there, so those things are not available. Okay, but the things are emulated there. There is difference between emulation and simulation. uh, uh, most of us has used, just for example, we have done assembly language program coding, right? So if you are using debug or maybe tasm or masm on your i3 i5 or maybe some AMD processors, so you are doing their 8086 programming, but 8086 microprocessor is not available there, but your i3 i5 or i7 is emulating the behavior of 8086. Okay, so that is called as emulator. So in similar manner, what you can say that, so uh, the devices which you have selected, that is Pixel 2, will be emulated in the current platform. Currently, what I'm using i3 microprocessor, and I'm using Windows operating system. but still your pixel 2 will be emulated with whatever hardware configuration of pixel 2 is there, along with the operating system which I have deployed on it, that is R. Okay, I have deployed the or downloaded the R operating system. Okay, and to accelerate the performance of that emulated device, you can install the this hardware accelerator execution manager, so that quickly that device should get loaded during each execution, as well as uh, quickly you should observe the outputs. Okay, so therefore this Intel extend can be installed. So by default it is allocating the 1 GB RAM uh, for your hardware, okay, which you are emulating there. Okay, Android hardware which you are emulating, that is nothing but pixel 2. Okay, so that is the overall concept of this HAXM, okay, hardware accelerated execution manager, right? So next, so after installing this HAXM, next you will be clicking on R download. So here it will be showing the actual license or agreement that you have to accept and you have to proceed, okay, for download and installation purpose. So once this image has been downloaded, okay, so after selecting that image, it will get installed, right? So what should be the name given to your Android virtual device? You can edit here. So it is nothing but Pixel 2 API, okay, and with our image or our Android OS API is deployed on it, with startup orientation has been displayed here, right? So likewise, you can select these things, okay. So after configuring the AVD, okay, you can click on finish, and then obviously you will be getting this screen where all your virtual devices are listed. Okay, currently we have only one virtual device installed, that is nothing but Pixel 2, okay, with our OS or your API, right, along with size, what is size it is using, and the CPU. Okay, so it is x86 configuration CPU, right? And API level used here is Android API level used here is 30, right? So this is about the virtual device. Okay, if you don't have Android phone or smartphone, but if you have Android phone, it may be anything. Just in case of display that Nokia 6.1 I'm using, or if you have Samsung, if you have any other Android phone, so then you can also use that Android phone to view the outputs of your application, whatever you have developed. So for that purpose, what you will be doing? So in your Android phone, okay, you have to connect that Android phone with USB connection to your laptop or development platform, and then in your Android mobile phone, you will be going to settings, right? Just for example, if you have Samsung mobile phone, or maybe Redmi, or maybe any other mobile phone, okay, Android based mobile phone, obviously. So in that Android mobile phone, you will be getting to settings. In setting, you will go to about phone, and in about phone, in setting, this is the last option, that is about phone. In about phone, the last option is build number. Okay, so on that build number, you have to tap, right? You have to touch that build number multiple times. So obviously, once you, if you have currently, if you have those Android phones, so you just go to settings, about phone, and build number. So if you go to that build number, and after tapping multiple times, it will count down and show you that you are becoming an Android developer. Okay. So, and final message you will be receiving: congratulations, you are now Android developer. Okay. So you have to tap that build number multiple times. Okay. So once you tap that build number multiple times, then you can go back again into settings, In settings, you can select system, and in system, you can select advanced option, or you can expand that advanced option in system. And then there is new option which will be created automatically. Initially, this option is missing if you are not tapped multiple times on the build number. Then this developer option is missing there. So once you have tapped multiple times on build number, and finally you get that Android web developer message, automatically this option will appear, okay, inside advanced option, inside system, right? That is nothing but the developer option. And if you scroll down to the developer option, so there is one option there, that is USB debugging. Okay, so you have to enable that USB debugging. So by enabling USB debugging, you can directly transfer the output of your Android application on your Android mobile phone. Okay? So once you enable that USB debugging, again in your Android mobile phone, it will pop up one message that USB debugging will be started. It will transfer the APK files or application and data will be shared between your Android mobile phone and the development platform. So that warning message will be shown. So you have to click on OK, and you have to enable that USB debugging. And you have to keep in mind, after using or after using your Android phone for observing output, then again you should disable USB debugging option, because it is somewhat insecure. All your data can be hacked through USB debugging, right? So most of the time we are using internet banking through your mobile phones, so that can be hacked if it is connected to USB and it is connected to the internet. So that you have to keep in mind while using this USB debugging for viewing the outputs of your Android application. You should be more careful. Okay, so these things you have to do to observe the outputs of your Android application on the mobile phone. Okay, so next one. So now what we have Android virtual device. Okay, that is AVD, right? As well as we have our mobile phone, Android mobile phone, where you can observe the output of the developed application. Okay. Now again we will move back to our application, right, which we were creating, right. So now in that application you can observe that now there are multiple options. Okay, that is nothing but I have enabled the USB debugging in my Nokia 6.1 Plus mobile phone. Okay, as well as it is connected with USB port on USB port. Therefore, I'm getting this option. Okay, so on this my mobile phone, I can view the output of current application, as well as I can observe the output on the AVD, that is Android Virtual Device. Okay, there is option that is you can run the application on multiple devices. Okay, or you can open AVD manager to select among those available devices, right? If there are many devices installed, right? Virtual devices installed. Okay. So whatever this application is there, which we have created, okay. So by default, it has been created, and by default, hello world message is there. You can edit that hello world message by editing that XML file, right? Under resources, under layout, you will find that activity underscore .xml file. Okay, you can open it in design view, or you can open it in code view to edit it. Okay, so according to that, your output will get displayed, right? So once you click on this run button, okay, previously it was green, right? As you can observe in this screenshot, it is green here, right? So once you click on it, so actual execution process will be started, and it will try to deploy the current application on this selected device, right? So it will try to transfer the output of the current application on the selected device. It may be AVD or it may be your Android phone. Okay, it will transfer in terms of your .apk file. Okay, will get deployed on the mobile phone or maybe on AVD. Okay, so you have to wait here, right, till this again Gradle build process is not completed, right? So once that Gradle building process will be completed, then you will be getting this. Sometimes it may fail. Okay, that just as shown in the screenshot. Sometimes this Gradle build process may get fail. So again, you have to click on try again, and after clicking on try again, that same Gradle building process will be started. And once it gets completed, then you can observe here configure successful. Okay, only the Gradle build process is completed and your my application is successfully configured, okay, to deploy on the current selected devices, but it is not a transfer, right? So again you have to click on this button, right? And after clicking on that button, you can go to actual installation process of your application in AVD or your selected mobile phone. Okay, so again you can observe here again that Gradle build process will start, then dependency will be scanned and your application will try to launch. You can observe those processes here, and once you receive install successful message, then you can observe your application in your mobile phone, because I have selected mobile phone here. Otherwise, you can select your AVD, and after selecting that AVD, the output will get displayed in your uh, on your screen itself. Okay, by launching that AVD Android virtual device. That is nothing but Pixel 2, what you have selected here. Okay, so likewise, you should complete all these things what we have covered in this first session. So for next session, you should be ready with your Android platform, that is Android Studio installed, and whatever covered in today's session, uh, you should be uh, completing all these things. Okay, and in next session, we'll be looking at further things. Right? Okay, so we will end this today's session here itself. Right? And in next session, we'll be looking at layouts. Right? How layouts will be managed in your Android app. Okay, that thing will be covered. Right? But whatever things that I have assigned to you, you should go through that Kotlin website, right? As well as other things that whatever we have gone through today. Okay, just try to implement it, as well as try to explore all the features of installed Android Studio, right? As well as one more thing, I will be sharing some of the books of Kotlin programming language. You can go through; those are very good books, right? So to learn more about the Kotlin programming language, you can go through the contents of that those PDF ebooks, or I will be simply sharing the links of ebooks because their size is somewhat larger. I will be sharing the links from where you can download those ebooks. Okay. So thank you for joining today's session. Right. We'll end this meeting here, and again for next session you will be getting the invitation. If you have any queries, then you can drop those queries in chat box, or you can drop it on that email ID, that is polymormultiservices@gmail.com.